With a Euro 6 DAF CF FAD in the workshop with brake system truck malfunction, transmission malfunction, vehicle controller malfunction, and to top it off, chassis module front malfunction. To truly identify what is going on with this DAF, we will need to check for specific diagnostic trouble codes. With DAV plugged in, we can look at the CAN topology of the vehicle, and from here we can access the specific ECUs which have active fault codes. With CAN timeout on the front axle modulator on the EBS3 ECU, and the wheel speed sensors showing no comms for ABS, we were going to need to carry out some testing on the front axle modulator. With the body up and safely secured, we can identify the front axle modulator, which is situated above the sack on the offside centre of the vehicle chassis. The top plug on the modulator is for the wheel speed sensors, and the lower plug contains our power, ground and CAN connections, which can be identified through wire size and terminal size here. With a no comms issue, we're unable to check any data. We have no voltage to the front axle modulator on Davy, and we will be unable to check it with a multimeter at the valve due to the fault, as voltage gets shut down via the EBS ECU when a fault is detected on the system. This multi-plug here is part of the chassis frame wiring harness, and this is where I'll start to carry out our continuity checks for the wiring to track down our CAN timeout issue. I will unplug this and test the wiring from the chassis harness to the front axle modulator, as I've had my fair share of issues with this harness. As you can see, the terminals on the left are bigger than the rest. 2 of these will be our powers and grounds for our front axle modulator, and the other 2 will most probably be for the SAC ECU, as it's on the same wiring harness. With 2 of my wiring harnesses plugged into the short loom that runs from the chassis frame plug to the front axle modulator, we can now carry out continuity tests on the front axle modulator harness. With our multimeter set to continuity, we can start with power, grounds and CAN. With our power wire showing continuity, but our ground not having any, we were onto something. Now, some of you might be asking, why would an earth issue cause a CAN issue? Well, even though our CAN network would show voltage if I put my scope on it, without this node, aka the front axle modulator, having power and ground, the ECU inside the modulator can't power up to send and receive the data, i.e. talk to the other ECUs about wheel speed, for example. The SAC can also suffer from the same issue as our front axle modulator, or fail inside the ECU itself, such as in my other video, which I'll leave a link to at the end of this. With the only thing holding this onto the truck now being a Torx bolt and a clip, we can try to get this loom off the truck. If I can ever get this stupid clip off the plug. Well, that's clip 9,000,002 broken and still counting. Honestly, these things are made of chocolate. With the wiring harness finally free, I can take a closer look and try and identify our fault. With nothing obvious at the plugs and cutting the whole loom open not an option, we will just pull a new ground wire through. With the plastic joint connectors removed, I can separate this into 3 sections of trunking, and what I find best to do to get wires through the loom is either cut the old wire and attach a new wire to it, provided it feels like it will move, or do this, which is aluminium welding wire. It is thicker than steel MIG wire, so it doesn't bend, but is pliable enough for me to push it through the trunking. With 3 sections of wire pushed through from one plug to the other, I can now attach our new wire to the welding wire. All I will do is bend the wire into a loop, and then crimp the wire into the middle of the loop, as you can see. With me cutting the new wire far longer than needed, I can afford to just cut the end off this and attach it to the same way to the next piece of welding wire. With our new wire now fed through the loom, we can attempt to fit the plastic joints back onto the loom, which is easier said than done. After getting schooled by the connector, we can move on to the final piece of replacing this wire. With every vehicle I see recently either having a driver waiting with it, no parts available, or the customer not wanting to pay for the wiring harness, I've got the soldering iron out to make a repair. So with a spot of flux and some heat, I can replace this wire. I just wish we had the correct terminals in stock to do a proper repair. We can now test our repair and check I'm not an idiot and I've changed the wrong wire.
Look at these brakes, right?
Pads.
You want to cast the wire? Should we change them or not? They've got a lot of cut on them, I see it.
With continuity to all 4 wires now on the correct pins, we can think about getting this back onto the vehicle. With some cable ties fitted and cut, one thing I'm going to need to replace is that stupid clip that I broke that holds the harness to the bracket, which, funnily enough, we do keep in stock. This clip might be new, but look at it the wrong way and you'll snap it in half. So, seeing it straight is important. Also, we need to ensure that it is fitted correctly too, as the plug won't fit back on the harness correctly otherwise. Who knew side cutters were also hammers? Anyway, back to Davey, and after rescanning the vehicle, you can see all the active faults we had on the EBS3 and ABS, which stands for Advanced Emergency Braking System, had gone from active to inactive. We can now clear these DTCs and return it to the customer with the faults resolved. If you want more EBS3 fault diagnostics, I've got this video here where we look at the EBS ECU and the faults associated with it. If you found this content helpful, please hit the like button, as it gives me an indication that the video was useful to you and I should make more content like it. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I'll catch you in the next one.